Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The Arrival of the Couch. In the previous chapter, the 5 friends, Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige, found solace in their favorite hangout, a cozy living room adorned with mismatched cushions and the scent of popcorn wafting through the air. Their laughter echoed off the walls, a comforting backdrop to the mundane worries of high school life. But the atmosphere shifted dramatically when a shimmering, otherworldly couch descended from the sky, landing with a soft thud in their backyard. As they gathered around it, the couch introduced itself as Coucha, a benevolent being from planet Couch, warning them of an impending invasion of evil couches. The air crackled with anticipation, and the friends exchanged glances, their hearts racing at the prospect of an adventure that would change everything. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the suburban neighborhood, where the laughter of children mingled with the distant hum of lawnmowers. Inside the cozy living room, the familiar chaos of snacks and chatter enveloped Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige. The walls, painted a cheerful shade of yellow, seemed to vibrate with their energy, and the mismatched furniture was a testament to their eclectic tastes. "Pass the popcorn, will you?" Caitlin asked, her eyes glued to the television screen, where a reality show played out its latest drama. She leaned forward, her dark curls bouncing with her every move, as she reached for the bowl perched precariously on the edge of the coffee table. "Careful. You'll knock over the soda," Ashley warned, her voice laced with mock seriousness. She was sprawled on the floor, her head resting on a pillow, her long legs stretched out in front of her. The sunlight caught the glint of her earrings, making them sparkle like tiny stars. "Relax, Ash. I've got it," Caitlin replied, rolling her eyes but smiling nonetheless. The camaraderie was palpable, a warm blanket wrapping around them as they settled into the familiar rhythm of their friendship. "Did you guys hear about the new cafe opening downtown?" Mary-Kate chimed in, her voice brightening the room. She had a knack for finding the latest trends, and her enthusiasm was infectious. "They say they have the best pastries in town." "Only if they have gluten-free options," Paige interjected, her tone teasing but her expression serious. She was the health-conscious one of the group, always looking out for everyone's well-being, even if it meant sacrificing her own cravings. "Let's make a plan to check it out this weekend," Brad suggested, his voice steady and warm. He leaned back against the couch, his fingers absent-mindedly tracing the fabric. "We could use a little adventure." The others nodded in agreement, their spirits lifted by the thought of a new outing. But just as the conversation began to flow again, a sudden, low hum vibrated through the room, causing them all to pause. The sound was unlike anything they had heard before, a soft, melodic resonance that seemed to beckon them. "What is that?" Ashley asked, her brow furrowing as she exchanged glances with the others. Before anyone could respond, a brilliant light burst through the window, illuminating the room in an ethereal glow. They rushed to the glass, hearts pounding in their chests, and gasped at the sight unfolding before them. In the backyard, a shimmering couch had landed, its surface glistening like 1,000 stars. It radiated a soft, inviting light, and the hum grew louder, enveloping them in a cocoon of warmth and wonder. "Is that a couch?" Caitlin whispered, her eyes wide with disbelief. "More like a spaceship couch," Brad replied, his voice tinged with awe. "What the heck is going on?" As if in response to their curiosity, the couch began to shimmer even more brightly, and a voice, rich and melodic, floated through the air. "Greetings, Earthlings. I am Coucha, a good couch from planet Couch." The friends exchanged incredulous looks, their minds racing to comprehend the surreal scene before them. "Did that couch just talk?" Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Indeed, I did." Coucha replied, its voice warm and inviting. I have traveled across the cosmos to warn you of an impending invasion. An invasion? Mary-Kate echoed, her excitement mingling with trepidation. What do you mean? Evil couches from the dark corners of the universe are on their way to your planet, Coucha explained, its surface shimmering with urgency. They seek to conquer your homes and hearts, turning comfort into chaos. The friends stood in stunned silence, the weight of Coucha's words settling over them like a heavy blanket. How do you know this? Brad finally asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil brewing inside him. I have seen the signs, Coucha replied, its glow dimming slightly as if burdened by the knowledge it carried. I am here to help you prepare for the battle ahead. Battle? Ashley echoed, her eyes darting between her friends. What do we have to do? Coucha's cushions shifted slightly, as if it were settling into a more serious posture. You must gather your courage and unite as friends. Together, you can repel the invasion and protect your home. The air crackled with tension as the friends exchanged glances, uncertainty mingling with a flicker of excitement. This is insane, Caitlin said, her voice barely above a whisper. But, what if it is real? Do we really have a choice? Paige asked, her brow furrowed in thought. If Coucha is telling the truth, we can't just ignore it. I say we give it a shot, Brad said, his voice steady and reassuring. We've faced challenges before. What's one more? Mary-Kate nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. We can't let evil couches take over our lives. We have to fight back. Coucha's glow brightened, and the hum intensified, filling the air with a sense of purpose. Excellent. Together, we shall devise a plan to thwart the invasion. But first, you must understand the nature of the enemy. As Coucha began to explain the characteristics of the evil couches. How they thrived on chaos and discomfort, how they could manipulate emotions and sow discord. The friends listened intently, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and exhilaration. Each detail painted a vivid picture of the battle that lay ahead, and with every word, the stakes grew higher. Remember, Coucha said, its voice steady and reassuring, the strength of your friendship will be your greatest weapon. Trust in one another, and you will prevail. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the yard, the friends felt a shift within themselves. The weight of their everyday lives faded, replaced by a sense of purpose and camaraderie. They were no longer just a group of high school friends. They were warriors, ready to defend their home against an unimaginable threat. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Couch Conspiracy. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the backyard where the five friends had gathered. Just hours earlier, they had been lounging in their usual spot, surrounded by laughter and the comforting aroma of popcorn. But everything changed when Coucha, the shimmering couch from Planet Couch, landed with a soft thud, its ethereal glow illuminating their faces with an otherworldly light. Coucha had warned them of a sinister invasion, a plot by the evil couches to turn Earth's inhabitants into lazy couch potatoes, ultimately consuming them once they were fried to a crisp. Skepticism had danced in the air, but intrigue had taken root, and now, as the sun began to set, the weight of Coucha's words hung heavily over them. Okay, so let me get this straight, Brad said, leaning back against the fence, arms crossed. His brow furrowed as he tried to process the absurdity of the situation. Evil couches. Like, they're going to invade our planet and turn us into what? Snacks. Couch's fabric shimmered, and a soft hum resonated from its cushions. Not just snacks, dear friends. They will turn you into couch potatoes. Lazy, unmotivated beings who will eventually be consumed by the very couches you sit on. It is a fate worse than death. Mary-Kate, her dark curls bouncing as she shook her head, laughed nervously. This is ridiculous. Couches can't invade Earth. They're just furniture. But what if it is true? Caitlin interjected, her voice barely above a whisper. She had always been the most imaginative of the group, her eyes wide with wonder. What if there really are evil couches out there? I mean, couches seems pretty legit. Ashley, sitting cross-legged on the grass, rolled her eyes. Legit. It's a couch. A talking couch. What's next? A talking lamp. Hey, I'm not just a couch, Coucha chimed in, its voice warm and inviting. I'm a good couch, here to help you. Planet Uranus has already fallen to the couch invasion. I barely escaped with my cushions intact. Paige, who had been quiet until now, leaned forward, her brow furrowed in thought. So, what do we do? How do we stop them? Couch's cushions shifted, and a faint glow pulsed from its seams. You must gather the courage to fight back. You need to find the couch resistance, a group of brave couches who oppose the evil ones. They will help you understand the true nature of the invasion and how to stop it. Couch resistance. Brad scoffed, but there was a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. How do we even find them? Couch's glow intensified, casting a warm light over the group. You must first believe. Only then will the path reveal itself. The friends exchanged glances, a mixture of skepticism and excitement swirling among them. The air was thick with tension, and the fading sunlight seemed to amplify their uncertainty. Okay, let's say we believe, Ashley said, her voice laced with sarcasm. What's the first step? Couch's cushions shifted again, and it seemed to lean closer, as if sharing a secret. You must venture into the woods behind your house. There lies a portal that will lead you to the couch resistance. But beware. The evil couches will be watching. Great, just what I wanted to hear, Brad muttered, running a hand through his hair. A trek into the woods to find a bunch of couches. Are you scared? Mary-Kate teased, nudging him playfully. I thought you were brave, Brad. Brave. I'm just not keen on being turned into a snack, he shot back, but the playful banter was laced with an undercurrent of fear. Caitlin stood up, brushing off her jeans. We can't just sit here and do nothing. If there's even a chance that this is real, we have to act. For Uranus. For Uranus. The others echoed, their voices rising in a mix of laughter and determination. As the group began to rally, Couch's glow dimmed slightly, a hint of concern flickering in its fabric. Remember, the journey will not be easy. You must trust each other and stay united. The evil couches thrive on discord. Trust. That's rich coming from a couch, Ashley quipped, but her smile faded as she caught the seriousness in Couch's tone. Let's just get this over with, Brad said, his bravado returning. Lead the way, Coucha. With a soft hum, Coucha directed them toward the edge of the woods, its glow illuminating the path ahead. The trees loomed tall and dark, their branches swaying gently in the evening breeze. As they stepped into the shadows, the air grew cooler, and the sounds of the suburban world faded behind them. The forest was alive with the rustle of leaves and the distant call of birds settling in for the night. The scent of damp earth and pine filled the air, grounding them in the moment. Yet, an undercurrent of tension thrummed beneath the surface, a reminder of the stakes they faced. Do you think we'll really find this couch resistance? Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they walked in a loose formation. Coucha wouldn't lie to us, Caitlin replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I mean, it is a couch. What does it have to gain? Maybe it is just trying to save its own cushions, Ashley said, her tone light but her eyes scanning the shadows. You know, self-preservation and all that. Stop it, Mary-Kate said, nudging Ashley. This is serious. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the trees thickened, their trunks gnarled and twisted. The path became less defined, and the air grew heavy with anticipation. Brad took the lead, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the weight of his friends' gazes on him, a mix of trust and expectation. "Coucha, are we close?" he called out, his voice echoing slightly in the stillness. "Yes, just a little further," Coucha replied, its voice steady and reassuring. "You are doing well." The group pressed on, the tension palpable. Each step seemed to draw them closer to an unknown fate, and the shadows danced around them, whispering secrets of the forest. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the trees, sending a chill down their spines. "What was that?" Paige gasped, her eyes wide with fear. "Probably just a raccoon," Brad said, trying to sound brave, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. "Or an evil couch," Ashley added, her sarcasm failing to mask her unease. "Focus," Caitlin urged, her voice firm. "We need to stay together." As they moved cautiously forward, the growl came again, closer this time. Chapter 3. Gathering intel. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the suburban landscape as the five friends sat in a circle on the grass, still reeling from Couch's revelation. The air was thick with a mix of disbelief and urgency, each of them grappling with the weight of their newfound responsibility. Brad, with his tousled hair and ever-present grin, had been the first to break the silence, his voice tinged with excitement. "So, what do we do now?" he had asked, eyes sparkling with the thrill of adventure. Caitlin, always the practical one, had suggested they gather intel on the bad couches. "We need to know what we're up against," she had said, her brow furrowed in concentration. The others nodded, their expressions shifting from shock to determination. They had agreed to split up, each taking on a different task to uncover the truth behind Couch's dire warnings. Now, as they prepared to embark on their respective missions, the weight of their task settled heavily on their shoulders. The world outside their cozy bubble felt suddenly vast and threatening, filled with the potential for danger lurking behind every corner. Brad and Caitlin made their way to the local library, the familiar scent of old books and polished wood greeting them as they stepped inside. The library was a sanctuary of knowledge, its walls lined with shelves that seemed to stretch endlessly toward the ceiling. The soft rustle of pages turning and the faint hum of fluorescent lights created a comforting backdrop, but today, it felt charged with urgency. "Where do we even start?" Brad asked, glancing around the expansive room. His fingers brushed against the spines of books, each one a potential source of information. Caitlin, her brow furrowed in thought, led him toward the reference section. "Let's look for anything related to couch culture or strange occurrences in the area. Maybe there are reports of people acting weirdly or becoming obsessed with their couches." As they sifted through the books, Caitlin's mind raced with possibilities. She remembered Couch's tales of planet Uranus, of how the couches had taken over, turning vibrant beings into mere shadows of themselves. The thought sent a shiver down her spine. "What if it is already happening here?" she murmured, more to herself than to Brad. "Hey, look at this." Brad's voice broke through her thoughts, and she turned to see him holding a dusty old book titled The Couch Chronicles. A History of Comfort and Control. The cover was faded, but the title sent a thrill of excitement through her. "Perfect. Let's see what it says," Caitlin said, her heart racing as they settled into a nearby reading nook. The sun streamed through the tall windows, casting a warm glow over the pages as they flipped through the book. Hours passed as they pored over the text, discovering tales of couches that had influenced human behavior throughout history. Some stories were benign, detailing how couches had brought families together, while others hinted at darker themes. Couches that had lured people into lethargy, their occupants becoming mere shells of their former selves. "Look at this," Caitlin said, pointing to a passage that described a small town that had fallen victim to a couch invasion. "It says here that the couches emitted a low-frequency hum that made people feel relaxed and sleepy. They just couldn't resist." Brad's eyes widened. "That sounds exactly like what Coucha described. We need to warn the others." Meanwhile, Mary-Kate, Ashley, and Paige were huddled in Mary-Kate's bedroom, the glow of the computer screen illuminating their faces as they scoured the internet for any signs of couch-related disturbances. The room was filled with the scent of popcorn and the faint sound of music playing in the background, but the atmosphere was tense, charged with the urgency of their mission. "Check this out," Ashley said, her voice barely above a whisper as she clicked on a link that led to a forum discussing couch-related phenomena. "People are posting about feeling unusually tired and not wanting to leave their couches. It's like they're being hypnotized or something." Mary-Kate leaned closer, her heart racing as she read the comments. "This one says they've started to notice their friends acting differently. They just want to binge-watch shows and do nothing else." Paige frowned, her brow furrowing in concern. "What if it is already happening to people we know? What if we're next?" The weight of her words hung in the air, and the three girls exchanged worried glances. "We need to find out more," Mary-Kate said, determination hardening her voice. "We can't let this happen to us." As they continued to dig deeper, they stumbled upon a series of news articles detailing strange occurrences in their town. Reports of people falling asleep on their couches for hours, missing work, and neglecting responsibilities flooded the screen. The articles were dated, some from just weeks ago, and the pattern was undeniable. "This is bad," Ashley said, her voice trembling slightly. "If this keeps up, we're going to lose everyone." Mary-Kate's mind raced as she considered their next steps. "We need to gather everyone tonight. We can't wait any longer." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow across the sky, the friends reconvened in their favorite hangout spot. The atmosphere was thick with tension, each of them acutely aware of the gravity of their findings. Brad and Caitlin shared their discoveries first, recounting the tales from the Couch Chronicles and the eerie similarities to Couch's warnings. The others listened intently, their expressions shifting from curiosity to concern as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Mary-Kate, her voice steady but urgent, shared the online findings. "People are already being affected. We need to act fast before it spreads further." Caitlin nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "We can't let ourselves become couch potatoes. We need to find a way to fight back." "But how?" Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What can we do against couches?" The question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Brad leaned forward, his expression serious. "Coucha mentioned something about a way to repel the bad couches. We need to find out what that is." "Maybe we can ask Coucha for more information," Ashley suggested, her eyes lighting up with hope. "Good idea," Mary-Kate agreed. "We can summon Coucha again. If anyone knows how to stop this, it is him." As they formulated their plan, the tension in the room began to shift, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and purpose. They were no longer just five friends lounging in a living room. They were a team, united against a common threat. But as they prepared to summon Coucha, a sudden chill swept through the room, causing them all to shiver. The lights flickered, and a low hum filled the air, echoing the warnings they had heard earlier. Chapter 4. The Couch Council. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the small suburban town. In the previous chapter, Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige had been thrust into an extraordinary adventure when an otherworldly couch named Coucha landed in their backyard. With its shimmering fabric and soft hum, Coucha had warned them of an impending invasion by evil couches, intent on turning all Earth beings into lazy couch potatoes. Skeptical yet intrigued, the friends had split up to gather information, uncovering strange reports of lethargy and obsession with couches that confirmed Coucha's dire warnings. Now, they were ready to convene at their favorite cafe, armed with their findings and a sense of urgency that crackled in the air like static electricity. The cafe, a quaint little spot called the Cozy Nook, was filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the sweet scent of pastries. The walls were adorned with local art, and the soft chatter of patrons created a comforting backdrop. As the friends settled into their usual corner booth, the atmosphere felt charged with anticipation. "Okay, spill it," Brad said, leaning forward, his elbows resting on the table. His brow furrowed with concern. "What did you guys find?" Caitlin, her eyes sparkling with excitement, pulled out her notebook, pages filled with hastily scrawled notes. "You won't believe this. There's been a noticeable increase in couch sales over the past month. It's like everyone's suddenly obsessed with upgrading their living rooms." Mary Kate, sipping her caramel macchiato, raised an eyebrow. "Or maybe they're just trying to make their homes cozier. I mean, it is fall. People like to nest." "Yeah, but it is not just that," Ashley interjected, her voice low and serious. "I found a forum where people are talking about feeling drained, like they can't get off their couches. Some even mentioned having vivid dreams about being trapped in a couch." Paige shivered, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "That sounds creepy. What if it is true? What if these couches are somehow influencing people?" Caitlin nodded, her expression grave. "That's what Coucha warned us about. We need to take this seriously. If we don't act fast, we could end up like those people. Stuck and unable to move." Brad's gaze shifted to the window, where the last rays of sunlight flickered against the glass. "So, what's our next step? We can't just sit here and hope for the best." "Coucha suggested we form a couch council," Mary Kate said, her voice gaining strength. "A group of allies who can help us combat the invasion. We need people who believe us and are willing to fight back." "Who do we even ask?" Ashley asked, her brow furrowing. "Most people will think we're crazy." "Not if we present it right," Caitlin replied, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "We can start with our families and friends. Maybe even some teachers or community members who might be interested in the weirdness of it all." "Let's make a list," Brad said, pulling out his phone. "We can brainstorm who to approach and how to convince them." As they began to jot down names, the cafe doors swung open, and a gust of cool air swept in, carrying with it the scent of fallen leaves. A familiar figure stepped inside, shaking off the chill. It was Jake, a mutual friend known for his quirky sense of humor and love for all things bizarre. "Hey, what's up, Couch Commandos?" he called out, striding over with a grin. "I heard you guys were plotting world domination or something." "More like couch domination," Paige replied, rolling her eyes but unable to suppress a smile. "You're just in time. We're forming a couch council to combat an invasion of evil couches." Jake raised an eyebrow, his expression shifting from playful to intrigued. "Evil couches. Now that's a new one. Count me in. I've always wanted to be part of a secret society." "Great," Mary Kate said, her excitement infectious. "We were just brainstorming who else to invite. Do you have any ideas?" "Definitely," Jake said, leaning against the table. "What about Lisa? She's always been into conspiracy theories. If anyone will believe us, it is her." "Good call," Brad said, typing Lisa's name into his phone. anyone else. As they continued to brainstorm, the cafe buzzed with life around them. The clinking of cups, the laughter of friends, and the soft strumming of a guitar from a corner table created a comforting ambiance. But beneath the surface, an undercurrent of tension simmered. The urgency of their mission loomed over them like a dark cloud, threatening to overshadow their camaraderie. After an hour of brainstorming, they had compiled a list of potential Couch Council members, each name accompanied by a brief note on why they might be valuable allies. The group felt a sense of accomplishment, but the weight of their task still pressed heavily on their shoulders. "Okay, so we have our list," Caitlin said, glancing around the table. "But how do we actually convince them? I mean, this is pretty out there." "Let's start with a presentation," Brad suggested, his eyes lighting up. "We can create a PowerPoint or something. Show them the evidence we've gathered, the reports, and Couch's warnings. If we present it logically, they might take us seriously. Or we could just invite them over and let Couch explain everything," Ashley said, her voice laced with a hint of sarcasm. "Nothing says, 'Trust us,' like an alien couch in your living room." "Actually, that's not a bad idea," Mary-Kate said, her expression thoughtful. "Couch has a way of making things sound real. If they see him, they might be more inclined to believe us." "All right, let's do it," Caitlin said, her determination shining through. "We'll set up a meeting at my place this weekend. We can have snacks, make it casual, and then hit them with the Couch invasion facts." As they finalized the details, a sense of camaraderie enveloped them. The laughter and banter flowed freely, momentarily pushing aside the weight of their mission. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cafe, a sense of foreboding crept back in. "Do you think we're overreacting?" Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if we're just being paranoid?" "No," Brad said firmly, his gaze steady. "We can't afford to take this lightly. If Couch is right, we're in real danger. We have to act." The group fell silent, the gravity of their situation settling in. They were just a bunch of friends, but now they were on the brink of something much larger than themselves. The fate of their town, and perhaps the world, rested on their shoulders. Chapter 5. Training Day. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park where the newly formed Couch Council had gathered. The air was thick with the scent of freshly cut grass and the distant laughter of children playing, a stark contrast to the weight of their mission. Just days ago, Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige had stumbled upon Couch, the otherworldly Couch, who had thrust them into a battle against an impending invasion of evil Couches. Now, with the urgency of their task looming over them, they were ready to train. As the friends set up their makeshift training ground beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient oak, Couch floated above them, shimmering with excitement. "Welcome, Couch Council," it announced, its voice a melodic hum that seemed to resonate with the very air around them. "Today, we prepare for the battle of our lives. Are you ready to embrace your inner Couch warriors?" "Inner Couch warriors," Caitlin echoed, raising an eyebrow. "I didn't sign up for this." "Neither did I," Brad muttered, adjusting his baseball cap as he glanced at the others. "But if it means saving the world from becoming a bunch of couch potatoes, I guess we don't have much choice." Mary-Kate, ever the optimist, clapped her hands together. "Come on, guys. This could be fun. Plus, think of the stories we'll have to tell." Ashley, who had been scrolling through her phone, looked up with a smirk. "Yeah, like the time we trained to fight Couches. That'll be a hit at parties." Paige chuckled, her dark curls bouncing as she laughed. "Let's just hope we don't end up as the punchline." Couch floated closer, its cushions shimmering in the sunlight. "First, we must learn to dodge the cushions. Evil couches are known for their deceptive throws. If you can't dodge, you'll be flattened. With that, sCàreY conjured a series of plush cushions that floated in the air, each one glowing ominously. Now, when I say, go, you must dodge these cushions. Ready. The friends exchanged nervous glances, but the thrill of the challenge ignited a spark of determination within them. Go, sCàreY shouted. The cushions launched forward, and chaos erupted. Brad ducked just in time, feeling the rush of air as a cushion sailed over his head. Caitlin squealed, narrowly avoiding a cushion that whizzed past her shoulder. Mary Kate, with her quick reflexes, leapt to the side, landing in a roll that sent her tumbling into the grass. Nice move. Ashley called out, her laughter ringing through the air. But just as she turned to dodge another cushion, one caught her square in the back, sending her sprawling forward. Okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this, she groaned, pushing herself up with a sheepish grin. Don't give up, sCàreY encouraged, its voice a soothing melody. You're all doing wonderfully. Now, let's try some couch yoga to center our minds and bodies. Couch yoga. Paige echoed, her skepticism evident. Is that even a thing? It is now, sCàreY declared, and with a wave of its arm, a series of colorful yoga mats appeared on the grass. Let's find our inner balance. The friends gathered around the mats, still chuckling at the absurdity of it all. As they settled into their poses, sCàreY guided them through a series of stretches and breathing exercises. Inhale the strength of the couch, exhale the lethargy of the bad couches, it instructed, its tone serene. As they moved through the poses, Brad found himself stealing glances at Caitlin, who was focused and determined, her brow furrowed in concentration. There was something captivating about her, the way she poured herself into every task, and he felt a warmth spreading through him that had nothing to do with the sun. Hey, Brad, Caitlin said, breaking his reverie. You're supposed to be in warrior pose, not daydreaming. Right, warrior pose, he stammered, quickly adjusting his stance. I'm totally in warrior mode. Sure you are, she teased, a playful smile dancing on her lips. Just don't let the couches catch you off guard. As the training continued, the friends began to bond over their shared mission. They laughed and encouraged one another, the tension of their task slowly melting away. Even Ashley, who had been skeptical at first, found herself enjoying the camaraderie. Okay, sCàreY, what's next? She asked, her eyes sparkling with newfound enthusiasm. Now, we move to couch combat techniques. sCàreY announced, its voice booming with excitement. You must learn to defend yourselves against the evil couch's attacks. Couch combat. Paige raised an eyebrow, her skepticism returning. What does that even look like? sCàreY conjured a pair of plush, menacing-looking couches that floated menacingly in front of them. You will face these evil couches in a series of challenges. Use your agility, your strength, and your wits to defeat them. Bring it on, Brad shouted, stepping forward with a newfound confidence. The others followed suit, their spirits lifted by the absurdity of the situation. The first challenge involved dodging the couches as they lunged forward, their cushions flailing like tentacles. Brad and Caitlin worked together, weaving in and out of the couches, reach, laughter bubbling up as they narrowly avoided being knocked over. Nice teamwork. Caitlin cheered, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Thanks. You too. Brad replied, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The thrill of the challenge ignited something within him, and he felt more alive than he had in weeks. As the training progressed, unexpected friendships began to blossom. Ashley and Paige found themselves teaming up, their competitive spirits igniting a playful rivalry that only fueled their determination. Mary Kate and Caitlin bonded over their shared love for yoga, exchanging tips and encouraging one another to push their limits. But amidst the laughter and camaraderie, an undercurrent of tension lingered. The reality of their mission weighed heavily on them, a reminder that they were preparing for a battle that could change everything. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the park, the friends gathered in a circle, their faces illuminated by the fading light. "Okay, Couch Council," Coucha said, its tone shifting to something more serious. "We've trained hard today, but we must remember why we're doing this. The evil couches are out there, and they won't stop until they've turned us all into couch potatoes." Brad felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What if we're not ready? What if we fail? Caitlin placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We won't fail. We're in this together, remember. We've got each other's backs." "Yeah," Ashley chimed in, her voice steady. "We've trained for this. We can do it." Chapter 6. Chapter 6. The First Encounter. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the small suburban town. The air was thick with the scent of freshly mowed grass and the distant laughter of children playing in the park. Just days ago, Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige had been lounging in their favorite hangout, blissfully unaware of the impending chaos that would soon engulf their lives. But everything changed when Coucha, the shimmering couch from Planet Couch, landed in their backyard, warning them of an invasion that threatened to turn Earth into a realm of lethargy and couch potatoes. Now, armed with newfound knowledge and a sense of purpose, the Couch Council was ready to face the first wave of the enemy. As the group patrolled the streets, their hearts raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Brad led the way, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Stay alert, everyone." Coucha said the bad couches could be anywhere, he instructed, his voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in his stomach. Mary-Kate walked beside him, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Do you think they'll really come here?" "I mean, it is just a couch," she said, her tone laced with skepticism. Caitlin, who had taken to wearing a makeshift utility belt filled with snacks and couch fighting tools, chimed in. "Coucha wouldn't lie to us. We've seen the reports. People are getting sucked into their couches, literally." Ashley and Paige flanked the rear, whispering to each other, their expressions a mix of determination and fear. "What if we're not ready?" Ashley murmured, her fingers nervously twisting a strand of hair. Paige shot her a reassuring smile. "We've trained hard. We can handle this. Besides, we're not alone. We have Coucha." Just then, a low rumble echoed through the air, causing the group to freeze in their tracks. The sound grew louder, and a sleek, menacing couch emerged from behind a row of trees, gliding effortlessly across the grass. Its surface shimmered with an ominous sheen, and the cushions seemed to pulse with a life of their own. "Look out!" Brad shouted, instinctively raising his arms. The Couch Council sprang into action, their training kicking in as they positioned themselves in a defensive stance. The bad couch halted before them, its cushions shifting as if it were breathing. "You think you can stop the inevitable?" it taunted, its voice smooth and chilling. "You're just a bunch of kids playing hero. Soon, you'll be nothing but couch potatoes, just like the rest." Caitlin stepped forward, her fists clenched. "We won't let that happen. We'll fight you." The bad couch let out a low, mocking laugh. "Fight? You're outmatched. I've been enhanced with mind control technology. You'll soon be begging for a seat." With that, the couch launched itself at them, its cushions flaring out like a predator's jaws. The friends scattered, adrenaline surging through their veins. "Couch dodge." Couch's voice echoed in their minds, and they remembered their training. Brad rolled to the side just in time, narrowly avoiding the couch's grasp. "Caitlin, now!" he yelled, and she hurled a handful of couch cushions they had brought along, aiming for the bad couch's center. The cushions bounced off harmlessly, but it bought them precious seconds. Plan B, Ashley shouted, pulling out a can of couch spray they had concocted during their training. This should slow it down. She aimed and sprayed, the mist enveloping the bad couch. For a moment, it seemed to hesitate, its sleek surface dulling. But then it roared back to life, shaking off the spray as if it were nothing. "Is that all you've got?" it sneered, its voice dripping with disdain. "Coucha, we need help," Paige cried, her voice rising in panic. "Focus, Couch Council." Couch's voice resonated in their minds, urging them to regroup. "You must work together. Use your strengths." The friends exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They had trained for this moment, and they couldn't let fear dictate their actions. "Okay, let's try a distraction," Brad suggested, his mind racing. "Caitlin, you and I will draw its attention. Ashley, Paige, you flank it from the sides. Mary-Kate, you're our backup." With a nod, they split into their roles. Brad and Caitlin charged forward, shouting to draw the couch's focus. "Hey, ugly! Over here!" The bad couch turned, its cushions flaring as it lunged toward them. "You think you can escape your fate?" Meanwhile, Ashley and Paige crept around, their hearts pounding in their chests. "On my count," Ashley whispered, her eyes locked on the couch. 3, 2, 1. They sprang into action, launching their cushions at the bad couch from both sides. The cushions collided with a satisfying thud, momentarily stunning the enemy. "Now, Mary-Kate," Brad shouted, and she rushed forward, brandishing a couch blanket like a cape. "Coucha, give me strength." With a swift motion, she draped the blanket over the bad couch, hoping to trap it. The couch thrashed beneath the fabric, its voice rising in fury. "You think this will hold me? You're fools." But as it struggled, a flicker of something caught Caitlin's eye. "Wait. Look," she shouted, pointing. The bad couch's surface shimmered, revealing a faint glow beneath the sleek exterior. "What is that?" Mary-Kate asked, her brow furrowing. "I think it is. It is a good couch trapped inside," Caitlin exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief. "Help me," the bad couch cried, its tone shifting from menacing to desperate. "I was once a good couch, corrupted by the evil forces of Planet Couch. I didn't choose this." The friends exchanged glances, uncertainty swirling in the air. "Can we trust it?" Ashley whispered, her eyes darting between the couch and her friends. "Coucha, what do we do?" Brad asked, his heart racing. "Sometimes, the enemy is not what it seems," Coucha replied, its voice calm and wise. "You must decide if you can help it." Caitlin stepped closer, her heart pounding. "If you were once good, how can we help you?" "I need to break free from their control," the bad couch pleaded, its voice trembling. "If you can find the source of the mind control technology, I can be saved." The friends hesitated, the weight of the decision heavy in the air. "What if it is a trap?" Paige murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. The Couch Redemption. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the suburban town as the Couch Council gathered in their makeshift headquarters. A cozy living room filled with mismatched furniture, colorful throw pillows, and the lingering scent of popcorn. The air buzzed with a mix of excitement and anxiety, a palpable tension that had settled over the group since their encounter with the bad couches. Brad, Mary-Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige sat in a circle, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the fairy lights strung across the room. Coucha, the shimmering couch from Planet Couch, hovered nearby, its ethereal light flickering in rhythm with the friends' racing hearts. "We have a chance to turn the tide," Couch said, its voice a soothing hum. But we must act quickly. Sophie, the corrupted couch, has a heart that can still be saved. The friends exchanged glances, a mix of determination and uncertainty etched on their faces. They had fought bravely against the sleek, menacing bad couches, but the revelation that one of them had once been good stirred something deeper within them. Could they really help Sophie? Are we sure she's worth it? Ashley asked, her brow furrowed. I mean, she's still a bad couch, right? What if she turns on us again? Everyone deserves a second chance, Caitlin replied, her voice steady. If we can show her the joy of being a good couch again, maybe she'll help us fight the others. Mary-Kate nodded, her eyes sparkling with hope. We can't just give up on her. She was corrupted, not evil by nature. We need to remind her of what it means to be a good couch. Brad leaned forward, his fingers tapping nervously against his knee. So, how do we do that? What do we even say to her? Couch floated closer, its light pulsing gently. You must share stories of laughter, friendship, and the balance between relaxation and activity. Show her the joy of connection, the warmth of companionship. That is the essence of a good couch. With a newfound sense of purpose, the friends set off to find Sophie, their hearts racing with anticipation. They arrived at the park, where the remnants of their earlier battle still lingered in the air. A mix of adrenaline and fear. The bad couches had retreated, but Sophie remained, her once vibrant fabric now dulled and tattered, a shadow of her former self. Hey, Sophie! Brad called out, his voice echoing in the stillness. We're here to talk. Sophie turned slowly, her cushions sagging as if weighed down by the burden of her choices. Why should I listen to you? She replied, her voice a low, mournful whisper. I've been corrupted. I'm not worthy of your kindness. Mary-Kate stepped forward, her heart aching for the couch. You're not just a bad couch, Sophie. You were once good, and you can be good again. We want to help you remember. Caitlin chimed in, her eyes bright with empathy. We've all made mistakes. It's part of being alive. But it is how we choose to move forward that defines us. Sophie hesitated, her fabric shimmering faintly as if responding to their words. What do you know about being a couch? She scoffed, but there was a tremor in her voice, a flicker of doubt. We know that being a couch isn't just about being sat on, Ashley said, stepping closer. It's about being a part of something bigger. It's about laughter, comfort, and connection. We want to share that with you. Paige, usually quiet, found her voice. I remember the first time I sat on a couch with my family, watching movies and eating popcorn. It was a moment of pure joy. You can be a part of that again, Sophie. The corrupted couch shifted, her cushions rustling as if considering their words. But I've hurt others. I've caused pain. Everyone has the power to change, Brad insisted, his voice firm yet gentle. You can choose to be better. Let us show you what it means to be a good couch again. Sophie's fabric shimmered, a flicker of light breaking through the darkness that had enveloped her. What if I fail again? She asked, vulnerability creeping into her tone. Then we'll be here to help you, Mary-Kate promised, her eyes shining with sincerity. You're not alone in this. We're a team, and we believe in you. The air around them grew thick with emotion, the weight of their words hanging in the space between them. Sophie's cushions trembled, and for a moment, it seemed as though she might crumble under the pressure of her own doubts. But then, a soft glow began to emanate from her, a warmth that spread through the park like the first rays of dawn. I want to try, Sophie said, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to remember what it feels like to be good. With that, the friends erupted into cheers, their voices mingling with the rustling leaves and the distant laughter of children playing. Sophie's transformation had begun, and as they gathered around her, they shared stories of their favorite moments spent on couches. Movie marathons, late-night snacks, and heart-to-heart conversations. Each tale wove a tapestry of connection, reminding Sophie of the joy she had once brought to others. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the park, Sophie's fabric brightened, her colors returning to life. "I can feel it," she said, her voice stronger now. "I can feel the joy." Coucha floated beside her, its light pulsing with approval. "You are on the path to redemption, Sophie. Together, we can fight the remaining bad couches and restore balance to our world." The friends exchanged glances, their hearts swelling with hope. They had not only saved a couch but had also forged a deeper bond among themselves. The Couch Council was stronger than ever, united by their shared mission and the belief that even the most corrupted souls could find their way back to the light. But as they prepared to leave the park, a low rumble echoed through the air, sending a shiver down their spines. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and a dark shadow loomed on the horizon. The remaining bad couches were gathering, their sleek forms glinting ominously in the fading light. "We need to move," Brad said, urgency lacing his voice. "They're coming for us." Sophie's fabric shimmered with determination. "I won't let them take me again. I'll fight with you." As they raced back to their headquarters, the weight of their mission settled heavily on their shoulders. They had gained an ally, but the battle was far from over. The Couch Council would need to strategize, to prepare for the impending confrontation. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. The Final Showdown. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the town square as the Couch Council gathered for what would be their most critical battle yet. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension that crackled like static electricity. Just days ago, they had been 5 friends lounging in their favorite hangout, blissfully unaware of the impending couch invasion. Now, armed with knowledge, courage, and an unlikely ally in Sophie, the once corrupted couch, they stood on the brink of a confrontation that would determine the fate of their world. Coucha, the shimmering good couch from Planet Couch, floated above them, its ethereal glow illuminating the faces of the council members. "Today, we face Lord Recliner," it announced, its voice resonating with urgency. "He is the mastermind behind the couch invasion, and his power is formidable. But with Sophie's insights, we have a chance." Sophie, a plush, inviting couch with a soft pastel hue, stood at the forefront, her fabric shimmering with determination. "Lord Recliner's minions are not just mindless furniture. They are cunning and ruthless. We must exploit their weaknesses," she said, her voice steady despite the fear that flickered in her eyes. Brad, the de facto leader of the group, stepped forward, his brow furrowed in concentration. "What do we know about Lord Recliner's strengths and weaknesses?" he asked, glancing around at his friends, who were all equally invested in the outcome. Sophie took a deep breath, her cushions shifting slightly as she gathered her thoughts. "He thrives on comfort and complacency. His minions are designed to sap the will of anyone who approaches. But they can't resist a challenge. If we can provoke them into action, we can turn their lethargy against them." Mary Kate, her eyes sparkling with determination, chimed in, "So we need to keep them on their toes. We can't let them settle into their lazy routines." "Exactly," Sophie replied, her voice gaining strength. "We'll need to be agile and unpredictable." Caitlin, always the strategist, nodded thoughtfully. "What if we create distractions? We can split into teams to draw their attention while the others flank Lord Recliner." "Good idea," Ashley added, her hands clenched into fists. "We'll need to be quick and coordinated. If we can get close enough to him, we can use the couch combat techniques we learned." Paige, who had been quiet until now, looked up, her expression serious. "And what if we fail? What if we can't save the town?" The group fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Brad stepped closer to Paige, his voice softening. "We won't fail. We've come too far, and we've got each other. We're stronger together." With a renewed sense of purpose, the Couch Council formed a circle, hands clasped together. Coucha floated above them, its glow intensifying. "Let the power of friendship and determination guide you. Remember, the heart of a good couch is its spirit, and you all possess that spirit in abundance." As they broke the circle, the friends exchanged determined glances, each one silently promising to fight for their town, their friendships, and the very essence of what it meant to be alive. They moved to their positions, the town square stretching out before them like a battlefield. The sun dipped lower, casting an orange hue over the square as the first wave of Lord Recliner's minions emerged from the shadows. They were sleek, dark couches with sharp edges and glowing red eyes, their presence exuding an aura of menace. The ground trembled beneath their weight as they advanced, a low hum vibrating through the air. "Now!" Brad shouted, and the Couch Council sprang into action. Caitlin and Ashley darted to the left, drawing the attention of two minions. "Hey, over here!" Caitlin yelled, her voice ringing with defiance. She tossed a cushion at one of the couches, which barely registered the attack before lunging forward. Meanwhile, Brad and Paige flanked the other side, using their training to dodge the minions' attempts to ensnare them. "Keep moving," Brad urged, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Don't let them catch you." Sophie, positioned at the center, called out instructions. "Use your agility. They can't move as quickly as you can." The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of dodging and weaving as the friends employed their newfound skills. Laughter and shouts mingled with the sounds of furniture colliding, creating a cacophony that echoed through the square. But just as they began to gain the upper hand, a deep, rumbling voice boomed from the shadows. "Foolish children. You think you can challenge me?" Lord Recliner emerged, a colossal figure that dwarfed the minions. His upholstery was dark and imposing, adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and writhe. His eyes glowed with a sinister light, and an aura of power radiated from him, making the air feel thick and heavy. "Your little rebellion ends here," he declared, his voice dripping with disdain. "You will all become couch potatoes, and I will feast on your complacency." The friends exchanged worried glances, the weight of his words settling over them like a heavy blanket. But Sophie stepped forward, her voice steady. "You underestimate the power of friendship, Lord Recliner. We won't let you win." With a flick of his arm, Lord Recliner sent a wave of energy surging toward them, a force that threatened to knock them off their feet. The friends braced themselves, but Sophie stood firm, her fabric glowing with a soft light. "Together!" she shouted, and the council rallied around her. As they joined hands, a surge of warmth enveloped them, a collective strength that pushed back against Lord Recliner's force. The energy crackled in the air, a vibrant display of colors that illuminated the square. "Now!" Brad shouted, and they charged forward, fueled by their unity and determination. They dodged Lord Recliner's attempts to ensnare them, weaving in and out of his reach as they closed the distance. "Distract him!" Caitlin yelled, and the friends began to shout and cheer, their voices rising in a chorus of defiance. "You can't control us. We are more than just couch potatoes." The minions faltered, their resolve wavering as they hesitated, caught off guard by the unexpected display of spirit. Sophie seized the moment, launching herself at Lord Recliner. "You may be powerful, but you are not invincible." With a burst of energy, she collided with him, her soft fabric absorbing the shock of the impact. The force sent ripples through Lord Recliner, causing him to stagger back, his eyes flickering with surprise. Impossible! He roared, regaining his composure. You think you can defeat me with mere words and friendship? Words have power, Paige shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. The Power of Unity. The air was thick with tension as the battle raged on in the town square, the sounds of chaos echoing off the brick buildings. Lord Recliner loomed over the battlefield, a monstrous figure of dark leather and gleaming metal, his minions. Sleek, sinister couches. Swarming like a tide of malevolence. The Couch Council, a motley crew of friends and reformed foes, stood their ground, hearts pounding in unison. Just moments ago, they had been filled with hope, buoyed by the camaraderie they had forged throughout their journey. Now, that hope was being tested in the crucible of conflict. Brad, his brow furrowed in concentration, ducked beneath a flying cushion that whizzed past him like a projectile. We need to regroup, he shouted, his voice barely cutting through the cacophony. We can't take them on one by one. Caitlin, her eyes wide with determination, nodded. We've trained for this. Remember what Coucha said about using our strengths together. Mary Kate, her heart racing, glanced at Ashley and Paige, who were fending off a pair of minions with improvised weapons. Cushions and throw blankets. We have to trust each other. We can't let fear take over. As if sensing their resolve, Coucha floated above the fray, his ethereal glow casting a warm light on the chaos. Remember, my friends, the power of unity is stronger than any evil couch. Focus on your bonds. With renewed vigor, the friends exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They had faced challenges before, but this was different. This was a fight not just for their town, but for the very essence of what it meant to be a good couch. Or a good friend. Let's do this. Brad shouted, rallying the group. On 3. 1, 2, 3. In perfect synchronization, they charged forward, a whirlwind of energy and determination. Brad and Caitlin took the lead, weaving through the chaos, while Ashley and Paige flanked them, using their agility to dodge the onslaught of cushions. Sophie, the reformed couch, rolled alongside them, her newfound spirit igniting a spark of hope in their hearts. Together, Sophie called, her voice ringing out like a clarion call. We can turn the tide. As they moved as one, the friends began to execute their plan. Brad and Caitlin worked in tandem, using their knowledge of the bad couch's weaknesses to outsmart them. Caitlin ducked low, grabbing a stray cushion and launching it at a minion, sending it tumbling backward. Brad followed up with a well-timed kick, sending the couch sprawling into a heap. Nice shot, he yelled, grinning at Caitlin. Thanks. Now let's take down Lord Recliner. She replied, her eyes sparkling with adrenaline. Meanwhile, Ashley and Paige had formed a protective barrier around Sophie, who was channeling her energy to help the corrupted couches regain their former selves. You can do this, Ashley encouraged, her voice steady despite the chaos. Just remember the joy of being a good couch. Sophie closed her eyes, focusing on the memories of laughter and warmth that had once filled her. She could feel the energy of the other couches around her, their despair resonating like a haunting melody. You don't have to be evil, she cried out, her voice echoing through the square. You can choose to be good again. As if responding to her plea, a few of the corrupted couches hesitated, their dark exteriors flickering with uncertainty. The tide was shifting, and the friends could feel it. Look, Paige shouted, pointing toward the minions. They're hesitating. Now's our chance. Brad yelled, rallying the group once more. Let's push forward. With a renewed sense of purpose, the Couch Council surged toward Lord Recliner, who stood at the center of the battlefield, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the scene. You think you can defeat me? he boomed, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down their spines. I am the ultimate couch. You are nothing but a bunch of lazy kids. Not anymore. Mary-Kate shouted back, her voice fierce. We've learned that we're stronger together. As they closed in on Lord Recliner, the friends combined their unique skills. Caitlin and Brad executed a series of coordinated moves, distracting the colossal couch while Ashley and Paige launched cushions at his vulnerable spots. Sophie, channeling her inner strength, sent waves of energy toward the corrupted couches, urging them to remember their true purpose. Feel the love, Sophie cried, her voice rising above the din. Remember what it means to be a good couch. In that moment, a wave of light erupted from Sophie, enveloping the corrupted couches. One by one, they began to transform, their dark exteriors melting away to reveal the vibrant colors and cheerful patterns of good couches. The tide of battle shifted dramatically as the newly reformed couches joined the fight against Lord Recliner. No, this can't be happening. Lord Recliner roared, his voice filled with rage and disbelief. You're all just a bunch of lazy. Not anymore. Brad interrupted, his voice steady and resolute. We've found our strength, and it is in our unity. With a final surge of energy, the Couch Council launched their combined attack. Brad and Caitlin led the charge, flanking Lord Recliner from either side, while Ashley and Paige provided cover fire with cushions. Sophie, glowing with newfound power, directed the reformed couches to surround their former leader, cutting off his escape. Together, they shouted in unison, their voices rising like a battle cry. In a climactic moment, they unleashed their full strength, a whirlwind of color and energy that collided with Lord Recliner. The impact sent shockwaves through the square, and for a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. The air crackled with electricity, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. Then, with a final, resounding crash, Lord Recliner was defeated, his dark form collapsing into a heap of cushions and fabric. The town square fell silent, the echoes of battle fading into the distance. As the dust settled, the friends stood together, panting and exhilarated. They had done it. They had defeated the evil couch and freed the corrupted couches from their dark fate. The air was filled with the scent of victory. Freshly baked cookies from the nearby cafe, mingling with the earthy aroma of the park. Did we really just do that? Caitlin asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and joy. We did. Ashley exclaimed, throwing her arms around her friends. We actually did it. Sophie, now fully transformed into a radiant couch, beamed at them. You've shown me the true power of friendship and unity. Thank you for believing in me. Brad smiled, his heart swelling with pride. We couldn't have done it without you, Sophie. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. A new beginning. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the suburban town that had just emerged from chaos. The echoes of laughter and cheers still lingered in the air, remnants of the battle that had taken place just hours before. The Couch Council, a ragtag group of friends and their newly redeemed allies, had triumphed over Lord Recliner and his minions, restoring peace to their world. As Coucha and Sophie prepared to return to Planet Couch, the friends gathered in their favorite living room, a space that now felt imbued with the weight of their shared experiences. Can you believe we actually did it? Mary-Kate exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She flopped onto the couch, her arms spread wide as if to embrace the very fabric of their victory. We saved the world from becoming a bunch of couch potatoes. Caitlin, still buzzing from the adrenaline of the battle, nodded vigorously. And we made friends with Sophie. Who would have thought a couch could be so relatable? She chuckled, recalling how Sophie had shared her own struggles with the dark forces that had once consumed her. Brad leaned back, a satisfied grin plastered across his face. I think we all learned something today. It's not just about fighting. It is about understanding and compassion. Sophie showed us that even the most corrupted can find their way back to the light. Ashley, perched on the armrest, chimed in, and we couldn't have done it without each other. I mean, who knew dodging couch cushions could be so empowering? She flexed her arms playfully, mimicking the moves they had practiced during their training. Paige, who had been quietly reflecting, finally spoke up. It's more than just the couches, though. We've all changed. I feel like we've grown closer, like we're a real team now. Her voice was soft but firm, resonating with the truth of their shared journey. As they lounged together, the atmosphere shifted slightly. The weight of their adventure hung in the air, a bittersweet reminder of the challenges they had faced. Coucha, who had been hovering nearby, cleared his throat, drawing their attention. Friends, he began, his voice warm and melodic, it is time for me and Sophie to return to Planet Couch. We have much work to do, spreading the message of balance and joy to all corners of the universe. His shimmering form flickered slightly, a sign of the energy he was channeling. Sophie, her once menacing form now softened and glowing with a gentle light, added, "You have shown me the power of friendship and compassion. I will carry your stories with me, and I promise to help others find their way back to goodness." She looked at each of them, her gaze lingering on Caitlin, who had been the first to reach out to her during the battle. The friends exchanged glances, a mix of pride and sadness washing over them. They had fought hard, not just for their town but for the very essence of what it meant to be good. The thought of saying goodbye felt heavy in their hearts. "Wait," Brad said suddenly, his brow furrowing in thought. "Before you go, can we do something? A way to remember this moment." He looked around, his eyes landing on the coffee table cluttered with remnants of their snacks. "How about a group photo?" Mary-Kate jumped up, her enthusiasm infectious. "Yes. Let's capture this moment forever." She grabbed her phone, her fingers flying over the screen as she set up the shot. The friends gathered together, arms draped over each other's shoulders, their faces lit with genuine smiles. Coucha and Sophie joined in, their forms shimmering in the light. "Say, Couch Council," Mary-Kate called out, and as they shouted the phrase, the camera clicked, freezing the moment in time. "Perfect," she declared, reviewing the photo with a satisfied grin. "This is going to be our new profile picture for the Couch Council." As they settled back into their spots, the mood shifted again, a sense of finality creeping in. "We'll miss you guys," Ashley said, her voice tinged with emotion. "You've changed our lives." Coucha nodded, his ethereal glow dimming slightly. "And you have changed ours. Remember, the strength of a couch lies not in its cushions but in the connections it fosters. Keep that in your hearts." Sophie stepped forward, her voice soft yet powerful. "And if you ever need us, just look to the stars. We'll be watching over you." With that, she and Coucha exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. The air shimmered around them, and in an instant, the two couches began to rise, ascending into the sky. The friends watched in awe as Coucha and Sophie transformed into beams of light, streaking across the horizon before disappearing into the vastness of space. Silence enveloped the room, the absence of their otherworldly friends leaving a palpable void. "Well," Caitlin finally said, breaking the stillness, "what now?" Brad shrugged, a smile creeping onto his face. "Now, we celebrate. We've saved the world, after all." "Yeah." Mary-Kate cheered, her energy returning. "Let's order pizza and have a Couch Council party." As they began to plan their celebration, the atmosphere shifted once more, this time filled with a sense of hope and renewal. They had faced darkness and emerged stronger, their bonds forged in the fires of adversity. Later that evening, as they lounged on their own couch, surrounded by pizza boxes and laughter, the friends reflected on their journey. The living room, once just a cozy hangout spot, now felt like a sanctuary, a testament to their shared experiences. "I can't believe how far we've come," Paige said, her voice thoughtful. "It's like we've been through a rite of passage or something." "Exactly," Brad replied, his gaze distant. "We've learned that it is not just about fighting evil. It is about understanding it, too. We've got to keep that in mind moving forward." Caitlin nodded, her expression serious. "And we need to stay vigilant. Who knows what other threats might be out there?" Ashley leaned back, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Or what other adventures await us? I mean, we've got a whole universe of couches to explore." The friends laughed, the sound echoing through the room, but beneath the laughter lay an undercurrent of anticipation. They had faced the unknown and emerged victorious, but the world was still full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. As the night wore on, the friends shared stories, dreams, and plans for the future. They spoke of college, careers, and the paths they hoped to take, each revelation deepening their connection. The couch, once a mere piece of furniture, had become a symbol of their unity, a reminder of the battles they had fought together.